Circulate Global News Updates. I am Soibifa Jadbridge. Israel has agreed to halt its Gaza attacks for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, US President Joe Biden said, adding that he hoped a temporary ceasefire will take hold next week as Hamas reviewed a truce deal that includes a prisoner hostage swap. Biden's remarks, which were recorded on Monday and were due to be broadcast later on Tuesday, come as negotiators try and hammer out a truce deal in the conflict which has raged since October last year. A senior source close to the talks said that the Islamic group, which Israel has vowed to annihilate, was studying a draft proposal that includes allowing in a significant amount of humanitarian aid, as well as swapping Palestinian prisoners in exchange for hostages captured in the Hamas attack that triggered the war. The proposal is the most serious attempt in weeks to halt the fighting and comes ahead of the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan, and with international pressure mounting on Israel to stop the killing of Palestinian civilians. Ramadan this year is expected to begin on the evening of March 10th. US and Israeli officials discussed a ceasefire proposal last week with Qatari and Egyptian mediators at a meeting in Paris. Delegations from Hamas and Israel are both in Qatar this week for so-called proximity talks held in same city through mediators. Biden, who is running for re-election, told NBC there was an agreement in principle for a ceasefire between the two sides while hostages were released, adding that he hopes to have a ceasefire in the conflict by the following Monday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected as delusional Hamas' last offer for a ceasefire, during which all hostages would go free, Israel would withdraw its troops from Gaza, and an agreement would be reached on an end to the war. On NBC, Biden said that a temporary ceasefire would jumpstart a process for Palestinians to have their own state. Netanyahu, however, has rejected a two-state solution. The new proposal, now being weighed by Hamas, included some of Hamas' initial demands for a ceasefire and limited the exchange of Palestinian prisoners for Israeli hostages to a ratio of 10-1, the senior source close to the talks said. The number of babies born in Japan fell for an 8th straight year to a fresh record low in 2023. Preliminary government data showed on Tuesday, underscoring the daunting task the country faces in trying to stem depopulation. The number of births fell 5.1% from a year earlier to 758,631, while the number of marriages slid 5.9% to 489,281. The first time in 90 years, the below 500,000 foreboding a further decline in the population as out-of-wedlock births are rare in Japan. Asked about latest data, Japan's top government spokesperson said the government will take unprecedented steps to cope with the decline in birth rates, such as expanding childcare and promoting wage hikes for younger workers. Mindful of the potential social and economic impacts and the strains on public finances, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has called the trend the gravest crisis our country faces and unveiled a range of steps to support childbearing households late last year. Japan's population will likely decline by about 30% to 87 million by 2070, with 4 out of every 10 people aged 65 or older, according to estimates by the National Institute of Population and Social Security Research. New Zealand will repeal on Tuesday a world-first law banning tobacco sales for future generations. The government said, even while researchers and campaigners warned of the risks that people could die as a result. Set to take effect from July, the toughest anti-tobacco rules in the world would have banned sales those born after January 1st, 2009, cut nicotine content in smoked tobacco products, and reduce the number of tobacco retailers by more than 90%. The new coalition government elected in October confirmed the repeal will happen on Tuesday as a matter of urgency, enabling it to scrap the law without seeking public comment in line with previously announced plans. Associate Health Minister Cassie Costello said the coalition government was committed to reducing smoking, but was taking a different regulatory approach to discourage the habit and reduce the harm it costs. The decision, heavily criticized over its likely impact on health outcomes in New Zealand, has also also drawn flack because of fears it could have a greater impact on Maori and Pacifica populations groups with higher smoking rates. Repeal flies in the face of robust research evidence, ignores measures strongly supported by Maori leaders, and will preserve health inequities, said Otago University researchers Janet Hoek. Large-scale clinical trials and modeling studies show the legislation would have rapidly increased the rate of quitting among smokers and made it much harder for young people to take up smoking, said Hoek, co-director of a group studying ways to reduce smoking. India's western state of Maharashtra will inspect outlets of global fast food brands to check if they use cheese alternative in products wrongly promoted as containing real cheese, widening scrutiny beyond a crackdown on McDonald's, a top official said. The checks threaten to cause a headache for global brands after recent inflationary pressure hits consumption of burgers and pizzas that are pricey for many Indian consumers, prompting firms to launch of discounted offerings. McDonald's, biggest Indian franchise, Westlife Food World, has been defending its use of real cheese after media reported that state authorities last year found some products made use of so-called cheese analogs of vegetable oil rather than real cheese. It renamed a corn and cheese burger as an American vegetarian burger, for example. Inspector of the State Food and Drug Administration will now visit all McDonald's outlets as well as those of other major brands to check for similar violations of display and labeling rules, its chief Habimayu Kale said. Another senior state government official who sought anonymity said inspector would visit Indian franchise outlets of brands such as Domino's Pizza Hut, Burger King and KFC. Indian state authorities have the power to suspend the license of restaurants found to have infringed food and safety regulations in a way that misleads consumers. India's western state of Maharashtra is its second most populous, home to the financial capital Mumbai, which is about 100 McDonald's outlets and many other urban cities. It is a key market for global fast food brands. In the McDonald's case, state food inspectors suspended the license of one outlet east of Mumbai in November for allegedly using analogs in products promoted as containing cheese. The suspension was later revoked on appeal by Westlife, the franchise. The company reassured many consumers online who voiced concerns about its cheese offerings, saying on social network X that it uses globally approved gold standard suppliers. Russia on Tuesday ordered a 6-month ban on gasoline exports from March 1st to keep prices stable amid rising demand from consumers and farmers and to allow for maintenance of refineries in the world's second-largest oil exporter. The ban, first reported by Russia's RBC, was confirmed by a spokeswoman for Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak, President Vladimir Putin's point man for Russia's vast energy sector. RBC, citing an unidentified source, said Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin had approved the ban after Novak proposed it in a letter dated February 21. Domestic gasoline prices are sensitive for motorists and farmers in the world's biggest wheat exporter ahead of a March 15 to 17 presidential election, while some Russian refineries have been hit by Ukrainian drone attacks in recent months. Russia and Ukraine have targeted each other's energy infrastructure in a bid to disrupt supply lines and logistics and demoralize their opponents as they seek the edge in a nearly 2-year-old conflict that shows no sign of ending. Exports of oil, products and gas are by far Russia's biggest exports, a major source of foreign currency revenue for Russia's $1.9 trillion economy, and ensure that Moscow has a place at the top table of global energy politics. The Kremlin has been working with Saudi Arabia, the world's biggest oil exporter, to keep prices high as part of the broader OPEC Plus grouping, which includes the organizations of the petroleum exporting countries and key allies. Russia is already voluntarily cutting its oil exports by 500,000 barrels per day in the first quarter as part of OPEC Plus efforts to support prices. That is the size of Top Accolade Global News Updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Tuesday.